In the approximately 300,000 years that humans have walked the earth, we've experienced our fair share of predators, including giant crocodiles, saber-toothed tigers, and the notorious short-faced bear. Most of the time, even our most deadly predators have been overcome through technological and societal advancement. But what if I told you that the most dangerous animal, as it pertains to humans, is still killing nearly 1 million of us every year? It buzzes by your ear, ruins your bonfires, and makes you reconsider wearing shorts. The mosquito. A tiny terror that shaped the fate of empires, changed the outcome of battles, and altered the course of human history. In this video, we'll uncover how this microscopic menace became one of the most powerful forces in our evolution. The defeat of countless armies and the collapse of ancient civilizations can be traced back to mosquito-borne illnesses. In fact, many historians agree that the mosquito has influenced more human events than any other animal. To put it in perspective, more people die from mosquito-borne diseases each year than from human-on-human violence. In ancient Rome, marshlands surrounded the city and neighboring areas. These once fertile farming lands became riddled with marshes and wetlands due to poor water management. This became a breeding ground for mosquitoes and the diseases they carry, more specifically, malaria. For the Romans, malaria wasn't just a nuisance. It was a plague that caused economic and population decline across the empire. It got so bad that some areas became nearly uninhabitable. In 1410 AD, a warlord of the Goths, or the Visigoths, by the name of King Alaric I, sacked the Roman Empire. This was a major turning point for the Romans, and was an event that foreshadowed the collapse of the empire. King Alaric, who had just cemented his name in history, fell ill with fever shortly after. Before he even got out of Italy, he died the same year as his attack. Given that his death was during the summer to autumn period, or peak malaria transmission season, it is widely agreed upon that this fever was likely a result of malaria. However, this wasn't the only notable figure of ancient times who is suspected to have died from a mosquito-borne illness. Alexander the Great, who died in 323 BCE at the age of 32, had sudden fever and delirium in the days leading up to his death, all of which are symptoms that align with a mosquito-transmitted disease. Not to mention that ancient Babylon, the place of his death, had a serious mosquito problem as well. But how did this tiny terror become such a force of nature? To understand the mosquito, we have to travel back, way back. In the late Cretaceous period, over 80 million years ago, when dinosaurs still roamed the earth, there was something else stirring up in the swamps. Recent fossil discoveries, including specimens trapped in ancient amber, revealed that mosquitoes were already buzzing about, surprisingly, in a very similar form to their modern descendants. Some of the earliest known mosquito fossils push their origins back even further, possibly into the Jurassic period, some 130 to even 200 million years ago. Now you might imagine some giant, colossal, dinosaur-sized mosquitoes. While other insects reach monstrous sizes during this period due to high oxygen levels, the mosquitoes' dimensions haven't dramatically changed. They were still relatively small, albeit with some key differences from the mosquitoes we swat today. Some evidence suggests that in the early Cretaceous period, both male and female mosquitoes might have been able to draw blood. Fast forward today, and only the female mosquito bites, which brings us to a crucial distinction between the sexes. You see, when you feel that irritating prick, and later that itchy welt, you can blame a female mosquito. Only the female mosquito needs blood, but she's not doing it for fun or even her own sustenance. No, she requires your protein and nutrients from the blood to develop her eggs. Without that blood meal, her eggs simply won't mature. A female mosquito can lay between 100 to 300 eggs at one time. Over her short lifespan, she can produce thousands. All she needs is a little bit of stagnant water, sometimes as little as a bottle cap full. Male mosquitoes, on the other hand, are strictly vegetarian. Their diet consists of nectar and plant juices, which give them the energy they need to find a mate. You can often tell them apart if you look closely. Male mosquitoes, generally smaller, and have a much blushier antenna. But these aren't for biting, but for detecting the faint buzzing of a female's wings, helping them pinpoint their next romantic encounter. Mosquitoes are incredible detectives. They can sniff out carbon dioxide from your breath from an astonishing 50 to 75 yards away. And it's not just your breath. They're also attracted to a complex cocktail of your body heat, sweat, lactic acid, and even specific chemical odors produced by your skin's bacteria. Male mosquitoes are not to be confused with the mosquito hawk or the crane fly. Crane flies, or the scientific name Tipulidea, are in fact mosquito eaters. These guys are harmless to humans, besides their off-putting appearance. Fast forward to our present day, and the mosquito's influence hasn't waned. Here in the United States, we constantly battle illnesses like the West Nile virus. And this isn't just a theoretical threat. Just last week, as of late June 2025, Illinois and Louisiana have already reported their first human cases of West Nile virus for this season. But this isn't just an early start. This is a stark reminder that these tiny adversaries are ever persistent and ever present, ready to wreak havoc. In fact, in 2024, Illinois alone saw 69 confirmed cases of West Nile virus, with 13 tragic deaths. But these aren't just statistics. These are lives impacted by a creature often dismissed as a mere annoyance. But if you think that's bad, imagine living in a place where mosquitoes aren't just an annoyance, but a literal force of nature that can drive people indoors and even impact migration patterns of massive animals. Welcome to Siberia, particularly the vast wetlands and tundra of its northern reaches. Here, during the brief, warmer summer months, you don't just get mosquitoes, you get mosquito blizzards. Explorers and scientists who have ventured into the Siberian Arctic describe conditions where swarms are so dense that they can obscure your vision, turn the sky black, and leave you covered in hundreds of bites in mere seconds. These aren't just stories. Even news crews like 60 Minutes have captured footage of their teams being literally swarmed to the point of intense discomfort despite wearing protective gear. The reason for this extreme density lies in their environment. Melting permafrost and vast areas of stagnant water create ideal breeding grounds. And while the Siberian mosquitoes aren't typically vectors for major human-killing diseases like malaria, their sheer numbers are a formidable challenge. They've been known to drive reindeer herds into frenzies, disrupting their migration patterns as the animals desperately try to escape their relentless biting. Imagine an animal as large as a reindeer literally being pushed by insects. It's a powerful, almost overwhelming example of a mosquito's raw and unyielding power in the natural world. The sheer scale of mosquito-borne suffering has led to a complicated and heated debate. Should we eradicate them? Not just control, but completely eliminate certain mosquito species. It sounds extreme, even dangerous, like playing God with an ecosystem. But consider this. Mosquitoes are responsible for an estimated 725,000 human deaths annually worldwide, with hundreds of millions more suffering from debilitating illnesses. The parasites they carry might even manipulate the mosquito's genes, making it hungrier and enhancing its sense of smell, increasing the chances of transmission. It's a terrifying example of a parasite truly controlling its host for its own benefit. Scientists are developing incredible technologies like gene drivers that could theoretically introduce genetic mutations into mosquito populations, causing them to become sterile or produce mostly male offspring, eventually leading to their collapse. The potential benefits are monumental: a world free of malaria, Zika, West Nile, and many more, millions of lives saved, immense suffering averted. But this isn't a simple equation. The implications are enormous and unpredictable. If we eliminate a species, even one that causes so much harm, what unforeseen consequences might ripple through the ecosystem? What about the animals that rely on the mosquitoes as a food source? Some argue that other species would simply fill the environmental niche, while others contend that every species has an inherent value, and human-caused extinction, regardless of the perceived benefit, is fundamentally wrong. Heated debates like these have no easy answers, and it forces us to philosophize about our place in the natural world. Are we protectors, or simply another dominant species bending nature to our will? Personally, I find it hard to believe that the eradication of the mosquito would be a net good. Despite the staggering numbers of deaths and illnesses annually, insects do play a vital role in a healthy and thriving ecosystem. A meta-analysis from the University of California suggests that insect populations have seen a 45% decrease in the past 40 years. Do me a favor, go outside and flip over a rock. Let me know what you see. I remember a time when you couldn't go 10 feet outside without seeing some creepy crawly running about. But nowadays, there's an almost uncanny lack of insects. I can't imagine that the extinction of a highly abundant, bottom of the food chain insect wouldn't produce consequences that are impossible to predict. Moreover, think of the dragonflies. Do you really want this pretty face going hungry? But in all seriousness, the story of the mosquito is far from over. From ancient swamps to modern laboratories, this tiny creature continues to challenge us, to shape our history, and to force us to ask profound questions about life, death, and our role on this planet. If you guys enjoyed this video and want to see more like it, you can support this channel by giving me a like and a follow, as well as any suggestions down in the comments section. This is Animal Reserve's first video, but because of viewers like you, it won't be our last. Until next time, Animal Reserve's gotta get back to work.